we will discuss about the properties of nerve fiber. The first property of nerve fiber is excitability. Excitability is defined as the physiochemical change that occurs in a tissue when stimulus is applied. And stimulus is defined as an external agent which produces excitability in the tissues. Response due to stimulation of nerve fiber. When a stimulation is given to the nerve fiber, based on the strength of stimulus, there are two types of responses are there. The first one is called as action potential or nerve impulse. Action potential develops in a nerve fiber when it is stimulated by a stimulus with adequate strength. Electronic potential or local potential, when the stimulus with subliminal strength is applied, only electronic potential develops and the action potential does not develop. Electronic potential is non-propagated. It is non-propagative potential. Action potential or nerve impulse. Action potential in a nerve fiber is similar to that in a muscle, except for some minor differences. Properties of action potential. The action potential is propagative. It is long distance signal. Third property is it has got both depolarization and repolarization. Fourth property is it obeys all or none law. Fifth property is there is no summation here. A summation is not possible in action potential. And the sixth property is it has got a refractory period. Electronic potential or local potential. Electronic potential or local potential is a non-propagated local response that develops in the nerve fiber when a subliminal stimulus is applied. Subliminal or subthreshold stimulus does not produce action potential, but it alters the resting membrane potential. Properties of electronic potential. Electronic potential is non-propagated. Second property is it does not obey all or none law. And the third property is it is short distance signal. Then the second property of nerve fiber is conductivity. Conductivity is the ability of nerve fibers to transmit the impulse from the area of stimulation to the other areas. Action potential is transmitted through the nerve fiber as nerve impulse. Normally in the body, the action potential is transmitted through the nerve fiber in only one direction. However, in experimental conditions, when the nerve is stimulated, the action potential travels through the nerve fiber in either direction. Mechanism of conduction of action potential. Depolarization occurs first at the site of stimulation in the nerve fiber. It causes depolarization of the neighboring areas. Like this, depolarization travels throughout the nerve fiber. Depolarization is followed by repolarization. Conduction through myelinated nerve fiber, which is called as saltatory conduction. Saltatory conduction is the form of conduction of nerve impulse in which the impulse jumps from one node to another. Conduction of impulse through a myelinated nerve fiber is about 50 times faster than through a non-myelinated nerve fiber. It is because the action potential jumps from one node to another node of Ranvier instead of traveling through the entire nerve fiber. Mechanism of saltatory conduction. Myelin sheath is not permeable to ions. So, the entry of sodium from extracellular fluid into nerve fiber occurs only in the node of Ranvier, where the myelin sheath is absent. It causes depolarization in the node and not in the internode. Thus, depolarization occurs at successive nodes, so the action potential jumps from one node to another. Hence, it is called saltatory conduction. And the third property is refractory period. Refractory period is the period at which the nerve does not give any response to a stimulus. There are two types of refractory period are there. One is absolute refractory period and second is relative refractory period. Absolute refractory period is the period during which the nerve does not show any response at all, whatever may be the strength of stimulus. And relative refractory period, it is the period during which the nerve fiber shows response if the strength of stimulus is increased to maximum. Then the fourth property of nerve fiber is summation. When one subliminal stimulus is applied, it does not produce any response in the nerve fiber because the subliminal stimulus is very weak. However, if two or more subliminal stimuli are applied within a short interval of about zero point 0.5 millisecond, the response is produced. It is because the subliminal stimuli are summed up together to become strong enough to produce the response. This phenomena is known as summation. Then the fifth property is adaptation. While stimulating a nerve fiber continuously, the excitability of the nerve fiber is greater in the beginning. Later, the response decreases slowly, and finally, the nerve fiber does not show any response at all. This phenomena is known as adaptation or accommodation. Then the sixth property is infatigability. Nerve fiber cannot be fatigued even if it is stimulated continuously for a long time. The reason is that the nerve fiber can conduct only one action potential at a time. At that time, it is completely refractory and does not conduct another action potential. And the seventh and the last property of nerve fiber is all or none law. All or none law states that when a nerve fiber is stimulated by a stimulus, it gives maximum response or does not give response at all. So, whenever a nerve fiber is stimulated, either it will give the response or it will not give the response. So, these are the properties of nerve fiber. Thank you.